importance of this session to the theme. Without wasting time, I would like to call upon the next speaker from Malaysia, Dr. Ghazali Muhammad Fazil, who will also highlight us on the importance of belonging to a professional body using success stories from the Association of Malaysia. Dr. Ghazali Muhammadi is a knowledge management strategist, consultant, practitioner, facilitator. He serves on 4 various committees as board of director. He also is fully involved in roundtable and KM writing stories. Therefore, we are very privileged and lucky to engage and learn and tap from his knowledge. I would love to borrow words that were once spoken by Miss Maya Angelou, who once said that when you learn, you teach. When you get, you give. And this is an example of what our speakers are truly showing us, because they are ready to share their knowledge and their skills, their expertise. Dr. Ghazali, you're welcome.
Thank you, Melba. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Good morning in Namibia and this part of the world, and good evening for my colleague also in Malaysia and this part of the world. Firstly, thank you for inviting me, and I must personally thank Melba to reach out to us firstly through email. Then we had a face-to-face Zoom conversation on that day with highly engaging discussion, encouraging each other. And then I say, Melba, just let us make it happen for one, because it's easy to have a webinar now, and true enough, we have it today. Once again, thank you, Melba, for making this happen. And just a pleasure to share my thoughts about the association in Malaysia and other things and what's happening here. Okay, I would like to share my slide now. Can the host enable me to share slide?
Giving the hosting rights.
Okay, the topic given to me by Melba is benefit of belonging to library professional body or association. Okay, this is my thought about this. Our conversation today will move around. I'll share a bit about our history of our association, the birth of library community. Then I'll talk about a little bit about success story, because that was us. And then moving forward, what we need to do actually. Although I'm talking about a specific nation, this is reflective of all the countries, of all of us actually. And collaboratively, we need to go towards all this and make this happen so that we can provide a really good change. Change not only to us, but of course to the customer user that we serve, our stakeholders, even the country. Now Malaysia has a good opportunity because we have a new prime minister, which actually love books, love to read, and value knowledge even more. So that's a great opportunity for us. So what I'm going to share here is a build up to that as well. And the way I normally share my perspective is that I would like it to be interactive. If you have a question, at any point you can ask straight away. You don't have to wait until the end, right? Okay. The birth of library community in Malaysia. PPM was known as Malayan Library Group then. Okay. Back then, library profession already exists in Malaysia in this region, because Singapore back then was part of Malaysia. And since 1922, we have a library profession brought by the British here into Malaysia, and we have a little bit of library community. Then in June 6, 1955, the Malayan Library Group, a group of librarians got together and registered themselves as a group or an association called Malayan Library Group. This comprised of a group from Singapore as well. So that's why now we pick June 6 as our Malaysian Librarian Day in Malaysia. Okay, last month we celebrated that. Okay, then after that, in 1955, this Malayan Library Group actually submitted a memorandum for public library services for the Federation of Malaya. In this proposal memorandum, it proposed that the National Library Board and eventually the National Library of Malaysia Act and the establishment of both National Library and the archive as well for Malaysia. The reason I'm sharing this, especially to the young one, is because I'm telling you, without association, without the group, this library profession would not exist in Malaysia and in Singapore. Because of the work of these passionate people about library, about reading, all that, brought the existence of this community, the profession, all that. And since then, we have grown up tremendously. And now we have 4 universities that offer a program in library science that you can go and study and be a librarian, professional librarian. And among other things, now we have several sectors of libraries in Malaysia, as you know, including public libraries, academic libraries, school libraries, and others, including libraries in corporate sectors and all that. So we have a good number and now. So with all this development, after years of development, we realize and we recognize that the need of this professional to continually progress the profession, to develop the industry and the community as well, to make us not only relevant, strategic, even to the country, especially the country, definitely. So if I want to share our success story, going to be a bit detail about success story. As I mentioned early on, we progressed so far. But just because of time given to me, one of the biggest success stories is actually the success of organizing the KL Kuala Lumpur IFA WIC 2018 in KL. Okay, because of that successful IFLA in KL, we really put Malaysian librarian on the world map. Okay. People beginning to know us, not only to know us, but in the region we know the capability, all that. So much so, several of us elected in the several IFLA communities and sub-communities. Okay, and we are planning, strategizing that one day maybe the president will be coming from this region. Okay. Another benefit because of the success of IFLA is actually our voices were heard, and because we are heard, like what happening today, actually suddenly now I'm talking to people in Namibia and connected to Melbourne and all that. So because of that, our voice are heard and we get connected easily and open more opportunities for collaboration, definitely. So future collaboration will be easier because we know already, now you know, recognize me, my face is like this, Ghazali is like this. So there's little barrier now for us not to collaborate in the future. It is open and it depending on us how we want to collaborate. And definitely we see because of this successful build up until IFLA, Kuala Lumpur IFLA 2018, and even now, because we also have a regional grouping and all that. So we believe so much that now we can contribute more meaningfully to our society and country. Okay. Now, we need to be even more strategic now. Okay, when we say we need to be more strategic is we need to go back to really understand what is the big picture, obviously. To us, what is big picture? Of course, we would have something, vision, mission, objective, and whatever not. Okay? But in that vision, we must be very clear. Everybody, every individual, every librarian, every library need to understand what is the big picture for us so that we can move together. We can understand together and help each other better. Now, as I mentioned, we have a good PM or Prime Minister. Now, Malaysia being a knowledge-based society is, to me now, is about time we meant to make it really, really happen. Now, of course, we need to do a bit more work and engage the right stakeholders, people to make it really happen. Now, we are putting plan for that. And the other part that we normally not giving enough attention, actually, when we think about big picture, we are moving, what's next and all that, is the way we measure ourselves. This thing we discussed with Melba when we had that one-on-one session, we talk about outcome. Always when we measure ourselves, we measure ourselves by numbers, numbers of students or users coming into the library, numbers of books being borrowed, numbers of book purchased, and all that. I think we had to move from that. We have to look at beyond numbers, use the numbers strategically, but to describe the outcome. That's what I mean by outcome measure. Mostly what I've seen today, we have a lot of the social and economic impact outcome, but it's not being reported. It's some sort of like hidden somewhere. And now we're not reported and all that. A small thing, for example, when we do run event, for example, I use simple example in Malaysia like cooking. The library, public library run a cooking class. And then what happened after that cooking class? We did not ask the next question then. But now we realized, definitely I discovered this a lot among our public library, that what happened after that cooking class is that one of two of these participants actually became an entrepreneur, selling food and all that. So that's, in a way, increase is definitely an economic outcome or impact to the society. We have increased that, as simple as that. So beyond that, like our colleague in Indonesia, they have social inclusion. They try to put measure and develop the strategy to put such outcome in our reporting. We need to do a lot more of that. We have that, we need to do a lot more of that. Now, second thing is that we know that library is a living organism. Organism. Yeah, it's life, it's alive, and we never static. We, especially with new technology coming in, we need to evolve. Librarian ourselves, we need to evolve. We need to understand things, move around and all that. So whatever the state where we are now, whatever country, what the situation is, we need to have this perspective that we are living. We never static. Yeah, we need to evolve ourselves. So now we can see that librarians and the condition of library is more toward conversational, conversation, a lot of conversation, collaboration, and our space also become lonely space rather than just a space for people to come and hang out, whatever it is. Now, especially in the public library, now the spaces has changed. Now it's definitely becoming a hub, not only a learning hub, but all kind of opportunity and hub used by our user. Now, the other part is we really need to understand who are our users and non-users. We may know our users, but do we know our non-users? And the bigger number is, of course, our non-users. So this is the clear understanding that we need to know. Once we know the non-user, we know that where the targets are, where we should put our more effort to. The other thing is we need to look at almost everything as opportunity, especially problem. We need to be positive. This is the push that I'm making, couples are making in Malaysia. Now, look at problem and turn it around as opportunity, and we can say that we can do a lot more. So the positiveness in us actually is very important, because seemingly we have threats, technology threat, certain threat, structure threat, whatever it is. But if we are positive enough, we can see sort of the light at the end of the tunnel. We can even do more. Okay. And the other point is a lot of also libraries in Malaysia, particularly in other regions as well, are sort of like rebranding ourselves now. Okay. maybe the rebrand will include the change its name, not just an outlook, but more to that. But the thing is, no, so we have to evolve according to time, but the principle is still librarianship. We're not going to run away from what we do, but the only thing is maybe we deliver it differently, we say it differently, we engage people differently. That's what I'm saying. Because the fact, the matter is information literacy is still the core to all what we're doing. And last, for this point, strategic direction, I just like to touch about being strategic and operational. Tendency is a lot of us still, not to say but still spend most our time during operational work, or in other language, business as usual. In our world, maybe we talk about cataloging, processing, we still spend most our time doing that. I'm not saying it is not important, but we have to find way to get away from that by using technology and other things or other innovative process or whatever to get us away from too operational work but to do more on strategic work. To me, top management is 100% strategy. You mean we need those who that top management need to think more about strategic issue that we need to address, that library can address, and whatever services and product they produce can address and all that. Even it is economic or social issue. So that strategy. And below the top management, maybe senior management, the composition also more strategic than operational. I would say it's 90%.
What
Now, senior librarian, 740. Even I would see that the librarian, the new librarian, their role should be 50-50, meaning 50% strategy and operation 50. This is not taking away, running away from what we need to do as a library, no, but we need to find ways, strategic ways, innovative ways to get ourselves free a little bit so that we can spend more time on strategic issues, especially issue that matters to our country, our government. Even I put strategy, library assistant, maybe there's a component of strategy. Even the operational thing, what we do operationally can be strategic as well. Okay. All right. Because of that, when we look at our association, which is the Librarian Association of Malaysia, I think we need to change ourselves first. The first thing we need to change is how we conduct our business. Okay? So we need to be more business-like, because this is very important. If you still remain and how we perceive the library and how we move, that we're not going to get away from our thinking or mental thinking about the library work. So we propose, and we actually moving with this to change a little bit the structure of our association to be more business-like. That's why we have like president office, then we have business unit, and then below that library development, we divide into couple of chapters in Malaysia so that we can give proper strategy, addressing proper strategy issue, looking at the what matters and spending enough time, because we need to remember an association, this is actually a voluntary work. Okay, maybe the only 1 or 2 full-time is me because I'm retired already. Okay, but the rest actually they have their own work and all that. So we need to really think this through and properly how we're going to engage our users especially and members really to make it happen for us as a profession, and also how we develop or how we contribute as librarian to the nation building. Okay, and I put a note there, all council members business actually hidden all managed by librarian. They are all librarian actually. Okay, I may need a bit more time and trying to use this. Can I check, is my slide working? Can somebody share with me what do you see now on the screen?
US the change.
Okay, so because I need to remind my parents, sometimes my slide is not working using Zoom and all that. Okay, thank you very much. So now I would like to share the perspective where we are now and where we should move forward. Maybe this is reflective of everyone else. Maybe the terms, maybe the situation a bit different. But we believe so much, if we want to really to move to the next level, the first change need to happen is actually us. Okay, that's why I put there us, the change. The first thing we need to look at is actually the grassroots, our user, and need to have the development in this area need to be continuous. For example, okay, these are the other components. Okay, for example, have we been addressing the real issue on the ground and to look all the other opportunities? Just like I'm saying just now, in terms of putting a new measure for us, rather than putting just the numbers and all that, we need to put all the other parameters to measure economic and social impact, actually, which is more powerful to our stakeholders. Yeah. So we need to concentrate more on the real issue on the ground. Okay. That's why we need to give more time to ourselves, to free ourselves to look at all these issues. Okay. Every library sector need to do and understand this, actually. Library sector, I mean all the other academic library, school library, public library, and the rest. Okay. The other, we need to really understand and work with our community. All libraries and each sector, they have their own community. We really need to understand, like what I'm saying just now, we need to understand who are our users and non-users. Okay. Okay. Partners also. Over time, I always use this phrase that the two quick remark that somebody that gave me when I asked about their perspective and how things and all that, the issue, the second one that I will say is that we don't have enough budget. Okay, all of us will say that we don't have budget. I will say I propose to them, think about it this way. Okay, in a business world, nobody start a business with enough budget. So we didn't get that money, actually, from the bank and all that. So what it means is our resources are global. It can come from any other sources, not necessarily our organization or our stakeholders. It can come from various ways, various capacity, very important. Trust me, I've seen this enough. And one library, they claim that do not have money but can run event, a multiple event, big event, national event. Yeah, but they are using actually somebody else's money. That's what I mean by our resources are global. Part of that resource will come from our partners, especially our strategic partners, actually. So we need to develop in our collaborative effort, moving or whatever it is, we need to understand who are our partners actually in our endeavor. So we need to identify them and work to them. And trust me, they will be the one that going to support us in whatever thing that we're going to do. And of course, the big word is that collaborate. I put that in capital. We need to collaborate across the board, the entire value chain, value sector. If you understand our world, the library ecosystem, we need to collaborate with the entire entity element within the ecosystem and even the library value chain. It's not enough now, or you cannot say now that school library and public library cannot collaborate, or school library or public library and academic library cannot collaborate. No, okay, that's, I've seen enough to say that I'm confident that we can collaborate, and we need to collaborate across even the value chain of library sector. Okay, and at the top there, I put the possible communities, partners, user, non-user that I put, which include youth, adult, agency, corporate, academic, and whatnot there. Okay, the other part of this actually why we look at this actually in Malaysia, definitely this we have certain threat that we are managing and looking at. For instance, the first one is structural human capital threat, because perceivedly and because a pandemic like COVID-19, only because what happened economically, we certain structural thing happen in Malaysia, and some of them will affect us. Yeah, so we need to look at that. So because of why we need to look at this grassroots continuous development within all the sector and the community, because that will answer our problem or help to answer our problem or manage the threat like structural and human capital threat, shrinking job market. Yeah, it is in Malaysia, shrinking of library, just specific thing. So we can develop the market, because the perceived from our community, especially the graduates, say that we can work only as librarian with this qualification. No, it's not. To me, it's not true, because our skill, competency rather, our competency can work in any sectors and all that. We not run away from library principle, whatever, but we can use our skill in our sector. Even we can create new job for using our skill, our competency. Okay. That's why when I say about new job market, there's a policy of that. For example, for instance, like my colleague Farah in a bit will share with all of us about open science. There's one opportunity actually, the new potential new job market in open science, especially citizen science. Okay, let me move a bit quickly because I know I will have not enough time. Okay. Okay. We talk about development. It is important for the session to look at the development seriously, especially for the members. You know, school, library school, for instance, in Malaysia, we have 4, can develop on the functional competencies, meaning to be a librarian, we can provide you this skill, competency, university can provide you. But more than that, human or behavioral skill, the university cannot really cater because it's evolving. Because when you go to the industry, go to organization, we have different set of culture, organization, and all that. So we need to fit into the culture. That's where our role as an association is to give, develop program, develop skill, develop our talent into a librarian that complete with not only functional, but also behavioral competency, such as, for example, mindset change. We need to have a new mindset change, progressive, knowledgeable, and strategy thinking. This should happen actually across the board. For instance, when I talk about the school libraries in Malaysia, the school libraries, the library school in Malaysia rather, need to produce graduate that thinker a bit, not just a doer, but a thinker a little bit more. You know, it's thinking librarian. We need to produce thinking librarian that could adapt, adopt in every angle, that can speak, that can talk and listen and do project and other things as well. That means is that we also need to provide leadership program for our talents and all that. That's why we have leadership pipeline program, which we start with young librarian camp. Then we have mid-level strategic training for mid-level managers. Then we have senior librarian training and leadership training. So we have that in every position. Yeah. Then continuous innovation process, we need to look at our processes, current processes, need to innovate a lot more. Now in Malaysia, we have a lot of this innovative or innovation competition, okay, of our product and services. We do that throughout Malaysia, and we need to learn from each other. The more important thing actually, when we have the winner, is actually how best we can replicate that innovation to the rest of the libraries in Malaysia. See, we do not want a culture of competition, but rather we really want a culture of innovation. And we have a strategic plan to develop PBM as really providing learning as a learning institute. And as I said earlier on, information literacy is still very key. Why it is key? Because I've seen recently that in school, a best student, one of the best students in school, when I asked what is his area is actually software engineering. But when I asked him, so what is the best book on software engineering? No answer. What is the best guru, shifu, or top in person expert in software engineering? The person can answer one or two, but not conclusively. This is what I mean, information literacy, as simple as that. If you want to be the best, we should know that is our word, right? We should know. If, for example, my area is knowledge management, I should know who is the top management expert in the world, whose blog should I read, follow, whose TikTok that I should follow and whatnot. What is the basic principle book that I should read and have and all that. So that's the thing that why I'm talking a bit more about the importance of information literacy, because I've seen enough that there is a gap now in Malaysia especially. Okay, enough about development. And then I move on now to perception about the profession and association. PPM is our association, yeah. So when we want to engage the younger librarian, tell them, say, let's join us in the session. So most of the time, the answer will be along the line of what's in it for me. Yeah. So before Dojana, what's in it for me? Why not? So the perceive that PPM is about having conference, workshop, meeting. No. So they need to understand that it's about also developmental, as I mentioned to you. The way we organize things, we develop, we put enough structure to develop others. For instance, now we are organizing our yearly conference. Yeah, that conference we invite volunteers, the young one, to be part of the community. So a committee, sorry. So when they're in that community, say the senior librarian, we engage them, we mentor them, we coach them. So that's where the development part as well in doing things as well. So it's not just program, workshop, whatever. Actually, in every part of the thing, what we do and all that, we actually include all this element of developmental, especially coaching and mentoring the younger one. Okay. And librarian in Malaysia, unfortunately, we still a big pocket of our society who see the limited role of librarian. So that perception still perceived here in Malaysia. So how do we change that actually? So actually we need to change that together with greater awareness and whatnot. So the work that I mentioned here just now before, like continuous grassroots, continuous development, and others, actually is talking about that, trying to address that issue as well. So in the end, we want to manage the perception, our stakeholder, our user, that library is just about borrowing books, buying books, and what? No, it's more than that. But unfortunately, until today, our users do not see that. So where have we done wrong, or where do we need to consider more? So those are the issue, and we are addressing comprehensively, strategically looking at this and trying to manage it now the best we can and put certain plan in place. One of the reasons why I started my presentation with the birth of library community, that's another answer to this group. The answer to these people, I say, without the association, the library community, library profession will not exist in Malaysia or within this region. Okay. And last but not least, I already mentioned about the need to put a new measure for us, which basically what I'm looking at is social and economic impact, the kind of thing that we meaningful and not meaningful that matters to our user. For instance, social issue avoidance. There are pockets in the society who cannot read and all that. We provide reading class and all that. So in a way, we provide certain social issue to happen because we provide them with reading, we provide them with education and all that. So before they turn out to be doing something antisocial, whatever, so we provide them this learning and avoid them from becoming that. That's why this social issue avoidance. Obviously, I already mentioned about economic growth, economic outcome that we see happen, and I think we need to do more. And now in Malaysia, because I see there's a term called knowledge tourism, or actually we reason because in Malaysia, I guess the other part of the country also, the other part of the other countries, like yourself also would have this opportunity also, where the country will have offer certain areas for tourism, but it can turn out to be a knowledge tourism. But maybe we can have further discussion if you want to understand a bit more detail of that. I guess I know the time limited now. I think I need to stop here now. And then maybe later, if you have any question, we can ask, we can even have discussion. Or even after this webinar, we can have another specific discussion. We also open to that. Okay. So with that, I stop here. Let double check. Yes, I stop here. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that informative and wonderful presentation. Indeed, you are a dreamer with a definite plan to make this world a better place. Thank you so much. I love the aspect of rebranding, because if I asked myself, my old self, or anyone sitting here and anyone following online to say, was librarianship their first choice of career, I guess most of us would say no. And this is where we come in terms of how do we rebrand our profession. Are we going to allow it be surrounded with the negativity that people see us to only be good at packing books, or maybe stopping people from making noise in these libraries? Or are we going to be the ones to stand up and show impact that libraries are making by proving to the world that we ourselves have actually been transformed with or by our profession? So thank you so much. I love the aspect of collaboration, because I think in our profession and any other profession, it is true to say that if you want to go fast, you have to go alone. But if you want to go further or far, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go further, you have to move with others, which is a very, very good initiative and key to our profession. So without wasting much of the time, for those that have questions, please type in the chat box, and I think Doc will be able to respond. Wonderful presentation. I've also heard someone also sharing that Prof gave really well points when he gave his welcoming remarks. Thank you so much. Our next presentation would be from Ms. Farah Wahida from Malaysia. She says she's a lover of knowledge and is a person who curates and shares in her twin roles as a senior librarian and learning facilitator to help others gain and benefit from the light and the knowledge that she has acquired over the years. Farah, I think there's more to say about you, equally with the president himself. He's such a humble man. Even when we had that meeting, the Zoom meeting, and the willingness to want to partner with Namibia and other librarians across the globe, to us, those are the characteristics that we need to all emulate from. Over to you, Farah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melba. All right, I love to share my screen now.